Welcome to Fireside Chats with Erin. I'm Erin Gowriluk, the president of the Canada Grains Council and your host. This podcast serves as a platform to explore grain sector priorities that reflect the Council's work here at home and around the world. Together, we will discuss issues and ideas with policymakers and industry influencers. And today, we're recording a special episode in celebration of International Women's Day, a global day that celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. But it's also a call to action for accelerating women's equality. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Accelerate Action, a call for increased efforts to achieve gender equality and eliminate barriers that prevent women from reaching their full potential. Now, last week, we explored topics related to the inclusion and advancement of women in Canada's agriculture sector in my conversation with Tessa Ritter and Lita LaRush. This week, we're panning out for an international perspective on the opportunities and challenges facing women in the agriculture industry in Africa and the Middle East. And joining me for today's conversation is Dr. Samira Amellal, the Director General of CropLife Africa and the Middle East. An agricultural association industry leader, Dr. Amellal has extensive experience in the Africa and Middle East region, acquired over more than 20 years. She has been involved in various public and private dialogues to explore sustainable agriculture in the region and has worked with several governments to implement science-based regulations. She is a strong project leader with the capacity to strengthen and develop operational strategies in order to deliver successful programs and add value to the smallholder farming sector across the region. Throughout her career, she has successfully led and collaborated with global, regional, and multi-country teams, gaining valuable insights and experience. Currently, she oversees a network of 22 national associations, each with its unique structures and resources, allowing her to foster collaboration and drive impactful initiatives. She is passionate about working in this cross-cultural environment and tackling complex multi-country challenges. With a strong commitment to agricultural innovation informed by her background as a scientist with a PhD in agronomic sciences from the National Polytechnic Institute of Lorraine in France. She firmly believes in Africa's potential and is dedicated to unlocking this in the context of sustainable development. Samira, thank you for stopping by for a fireside chat.
Thank you very much, Erin, for this opportunity.
I have had the opportunity to sit down and have conversations with some of CropLife's international leaders, and I'm just amazed at the caliber of female leadership at CropLife around the world. My first conversation when I was in this position at Council was with Emily Reese from CropLife International. And just a couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to sit down with Alexandra Dapolito-Dunn, who is the relatively new leader for CropLife America. And now I have the honor and the privilege of having a conversation with you, which I expect no doubt is going to bring about a very different perspective than the one that we're accustomed to here in Canada. So thanks very much for joining us for the conversation today.
Thank you, Erin.
Now, I'd like to start by getting to know you a little bit better because I expect that you're a relatively new face for many of our listeners. And so tell me a bit about your journey in agriculture and what inspired you to pursue a career in this industry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Erin, for the invitation and for the question. As you can see from my bio, I have always been involved in the field of agriculture from my studies to my professional career. And when I started my professional career, it was in research. And what encouraged me and still drives me today was to explore the possibilities of science and innovation in agriculture to boost agricultural productivity and provide prosperity to the families in this field. So after a period of research, I choose to turn to the private sector and industry, hoping to make a difference and contribute to improving agriculture and economy for Africa and Middle East country region. As you know, it's highly impacted by crucial issues of food and security and climate change. So, and I believe, and it's my daily motto, that technology and innovation in agriculture offer farming opportunity to increase their yield, often changing their lifestyles and enabling young women to pursue education and inspiring for a better future.
Lovely. We work in the same industry, but I expect that we've had very different experiences, given that I've spent my career here in Canada and you're based, I believe, in Morocco.
Yeah.
What challenges have you faced as a woman working in a historically male-dominated industry, and how did you overcome them?
So thank you for this question. Interesting to have this exchange between our on our experience. So personally, I have had opportunity to work with men in various countries across the Africa, Middle East region, and also outside the continent. Each of them has its own cultural behavior, its own personality. And I remember when I started, I felt insecure and believed that I need to do more to prove my leadership ability and defend my personality. So quickly, I learned that by staying true to my value of respect, openness, tolerance in the workplace, I have learned to overcome all these cultural and gender difference challenges. This value also enables me to work effectively with people from diverse backgrounds, fostering a cooperative, inclusive environment by learning to understand and appreciate everyone's unique perspective. And also very important that I believe that helps me a lot. It's my education, my background, my experience helps me also to have confidence on myself and overcome various cultural and gender challenges.
Now, despite progress, which we no doubt have we seen here in Canada, certainly leadership roles in our industry remain predominantly male. To what would you attribute, what are the barriers in your view that are preventing more women from reaching senior leadership positions, Samira?
Yeah, so this is also a very interesting question. We have made some progress, and I have you mentioned in CropLife International, we have now a CEO, we have older colleagues, women in leadership position, and all of them, they are very inspiring women leaders playing a big role in the agriculture industry. But we still face many challenges. First of one of them is the persistent belief and cultural norms often suggest that the leadership is primarily for men, and this can discourage women from pursuing high position. Second, balancing work and family responsibility still pose a significant and big challenges for many women. As they advance in their career, they often face to the pressure of what we call the biological clock and the desire to grow their family, and leading them to difficult choices between work, targeting high-level position, and for them, it's mean that they need to do some sacrifice. They need time, or to be in charge of their family obligation. So based on my own experience as parent of two children, I feel lucky to have the support of my family in caring for them while was traveling across the region and the world. So balancing work and family responsibility is still a strong challenge. The third one is the limited networking opportunity. So women may have a fewer opportunity to network within the agriculture sector because the most of the network are for men. And I would like here to express how I am delighted to have this conversation with you, another leader woman in the agriculture industry. And here maybe I was thinking maybe in the future we can consider to set up an agriculture network for women leader or young woman across the globe. So as you mentioned, we know already few of these women leader, and we can establish such a global network where we can offer a platform for discussion, exchange, experience, learn from each other. So this is one of the call of action.
I like that's a call to action, and I'm all in on that one because as you're talking, Samira, I'm drawing parallels already between the conversation that I had with Tessa and Lita, Canadian leaders, last week, and they raised the same point with respect to networking. And that being really an opportunity for you to establish relationships with other leaders, and women sometimes being at a disadvantage depending on the nature of that type of interaction. And so, if it's golfing, for example, or to your point, if it might be taking dinner, drinks after working hours, outside of working hours, depending on your setup at home, to the extent that you can be away from your family and the demands of family life to facilitate that type of networking that occurs outside of office hours. So already drawing parallels to some of the challenges that you face in your environment and the ones that we face here as well. But absolutely going to follow up with you with respect to sort of the creation of this global network of female leaders. I think that would be a welcome conversation.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to touch on a topic with you that I've talked a bit about with Lita and Tessa, and it's a relatively controversial topic. So I would appreciate your perspective, given where in the world you reside, and that's whether or not senior leadership teams, be it within the organization or on boards of directors, do you support the establishment of targets when it comes to ensuring greater diversity?
Yes. In our board member, the most of them, they are constituted from industry company working on the crop protection and plant science in general, and they already have targets for more women inclusive within the industry. So this is for my member company, but also we as CropLife, we have put these targets. And if you can see in my organization, we have gender balance between women leaders and also men in the field. So there is more and more progression in terms of specific policy to push for more women in the industry, to push to give the chance to more women in the leadership position. But there is good progress. But are we already in the final target? Not yet. Why? Because I just list some of these challenges, balancing between work and family, the less of mentorship from men to women or women to another woman. So we still face of these challenges, and also, to see women cannot be really on all the senior position. But there is progress already made in this field.
So perhaps not as controversial as I may have thought, because you're suggesting then that the establishment of targets around gender diversity in particular already exist both within CropLife, but also within many of the CropLife member companies.
Yes. This is not controversial. I think that this is something that it's the way that we can the way that we can continue to improve the inclusivity, work environment, improved overall productivity and sustainability in industry in general. So not only targeting women, but also to increase diversity in general at the industry organization level.
Yeah, I think it's the reason it gets a little pushback in Canada, specifically in the conversations that I've had, has largely been around the notion that if you have a woman on the board, if you've established a target and you have to hit 30%, for example, or 50% of your leadership team will be female. I mean, I'll use that as one example, but I recognize that when you're talking about diversity, it goes well beyond gender. That there's this notion that woman who has been appointed to the board or who is now on the senior leadership team is there not necessarily because she's qualified, but because you were trying to meet that quota or target. I disagree with that sentiment. I'm a big believer in targets and setting objectives. I think it encourages and incentivizes the organization to feed the pipeline, find the talent, and ensure that women are a part of that leadership pipeline. But yeah, I'm thrilled to see that it's perhaps a less contentious issue for CropLife and some of its members in that regard.
Yeah, you are totally right. So this is not because we are giving the chance to the woman just based on her gender. So the women have different perspective and experience, and they already come with fresh and idea, older perspective in solution. And as I said, of course, not apply only to the women, to diversity in general, but we increase, and it was shown that increasing the number of women in leadership can inspire the next generation, and especially the young human girls. When they see that women are in the top position, it shows to them that they can succeed, that they can also inspire on to successful career, to a good position. So having more women in leadership can help ensure that the needs also of older females, farmers and workers in the field can be heard, that there is program can be established and considered in the industry, targeting to help the women workers in the field of agriculture.
That's an interesting answer. I've often heard in response to that answer, inspiring younger women, right? If they see themselves in leadership positions, it inspires them to think that there's an opportunity for them as a pathway for them. But the one unique perspective that you have brought to this conversation for me is around the relationship that you may have with your customers, for example, your growers, your farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And are you more inclined to, if you have female leadership and you have female farmers, is there synergy there? Is there consideration there? Is there understanding? And so what does that dynamic look like? Because my next question for you, and you've answered it in part, would be, what does having more women in leadership roles, how does that benefit the industry? And I think to a large extent you've answered that question, but I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add.
As I said, so women can bring a new perspective and a fresh idea in general in terms of the leadership, and contributing to set up new policies, set up new program targeting female, of course, because we understand each other. We understand the need of each other, and this new angle that women leadership can bring to industry can help the global vision of the industry to advance their objective and also to grow their vision in the future. So it's complementary. So this diversity of gender and older background, it's diversity. It's something that can be rich for industry and fostering more the industry vision in general.
So let's talk about our male colleagues, because they're a big part of the work that we do and working to provide mentorship and sponsorship. Many of my first mentors in my career were men. I worked for an all-male farmer board of directors, and they were brilliant mentors and teachers. So let's talk about male allies in the industry and how they can better support women in agriculture and contribute to a more inclusive work environment. What does that look like in your view?
So I think that, yeah, as you mentioned, so I'm working also with the board 100% men. So, and I have the chance to work with a fantastic, inspiring man leader, which also gives me the chance to prove my leadership and to bring my perspective to lead the association. I think that's the men leader in industry can mentor women, and that help break down barriers for female leadership in agriculture, and which can help again to advocate for more policies that prioritize gender equality. And this approach will not only create more inclusive work environments, but also, as I said, improve the productivity and sustainability of agriculture in general. So having more men mentor helping to the women career, it's really important in the future to make sure that we can have more women leaders sitting in the same table. So again, we this value of cooperative tolerance is very important in the workplace to ensure that we can make together a better future.
This has been a fantastic conversation so far, Samira. I thank you for your unique insights. I have a final question for you, and that's bringing this back to the theme of this year's International Women's Day, which is to accelerate action. So, a call for increased efforts to achieve gender equality and eliminate barriers that prevent women from reaching their full potential. What is one thing, in your view, that we should be doing if we want to accelerate action?
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much for this point, and let me congratulate you for this theme and you're willing to take more action. We have discussed about building a network in the future, so we'll catch up on that certainly. So from my own perspective, my experience, so what is certain is that education opened the doors. It has been for me very crucial to give me the confidence to pursue my ambition and to make sure that my voice is heard in a male-dominated world. So education is essential for women to target high level of position. So the path of professional success, and you know that it's often filled with obstacles and can lead us to question our decisions. So therefore, it's important to be sure about our passions, belief, values, roots, and to stay confident and continue our path in that we have choose.
It's an interesting answer, and I think it's one that speaks to where you're coming from globally, because I think it's something that we very often take for granted in Canada, whereas I think in Canada and the United States now, and that's as far as I've looked, we're seeing the balance shift, and more of the post-secondary graduates from university and college programs are women. More women than there are men, but that's not the case. I think we take for granted that's not the case in every country around the world. So you're talking about education being the key, not only to ensure that women are qualified, but they have the confidence to bring to those positions and to advance through their career.
Absolutely. This is very important from where I am, Africa, Middle East. So education is still very, very crucial to give this confidence to the women. And as we discussed, seeing older women in high level of position give to them the confidence that also they can target such future for them. So, and also we have this, I have mentioned that to stay authentic, we are women. So it's very important to be confident to stay as women, don't necessarily to compare ourselves to men, don't necessarily to change ourselves as men, to not go for this ego fighting. So women leadership has already proved in the past how we can be successful. We have our way also to manage a team. Maybe sometimes we are in the maternity is like a mother. But this is successful because you are here for your people, you are here to listen, you are here to help them, and they can also feel in confidence that then they can produce more and they can also be passionate to work with you. So the women leadership is beautiful as a woman.
I appreciate that from an education perspective, that given the various countries under your purview, that access to education is different in many of those countries. But I think the one of my takeaways from your closing comments there, Samira, is not just in terms of women, young women in particular, seeing themselves in women who are in senior positions, seeing what they can achieve when they get the education and the experience. But I think also in opening the door for that type of leadership, because very often women will lead differently than men lead. And so creating that environment where it's not just accepted, but there is a model for female leadership that may be different in some ways from masculine leadership, and that they see that they have something to bring, that there's a level of acceptance, and that's valued. That approach to leadership is valued.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for your time today, Samira. This was a very enlightening conversation, and I hope it's the first of many. I look forward to meeting you one day in person and to the establishment of this global women in leadership network that you and I are going to
I
talk more.
rely on you. I rely on you, Erin. And I'm here to bring African Middle East women.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we will need that for, as we said, we will need that for the young African Middle East women to bring them in this global network to see how other experience are in other countries. So I'm with you. It was a pleasure to have this catch up with you. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm sure that we will have the opportunity to see each other in one day across the globe.
We're going to make it happen. We will. So thank you very much, Samira, for your time and your perspective on this important topic. I hope that you found this episode as thought-provoking and inspiring as I did. Stay connected with us for more engaging conversations that delve into the heart of the grain industry. You can catch us on your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Just search Fireside Chats with Erin and hit the subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. Happy International Women's Day.